Again, I want to start with talking to you about the 800 files. This is one. The 800 files of school curriculum that were recently leaked from a teacher. We know this teacher is a black conservative. He received all of these from a group of teachers at a recent teachers conference this summer. And he started going over it and listening to everyone, and it scared the heck out of him. I'd have him on, but he is rightfully very concerned about the backlash that he would get. The cost to his family and his career is too high. We have verified through a secondary source that he is, in fact, a teacher. He's been teaching for over 25 years. We also have done some homework on where this is, and we'll show you that here in a minute. Not only is it disturbing, all of this, but the source said he was told that teachers have been sharing this curriculum everywhere they can. And I'll show you how far it's spread later on in the show. The teacher gave these documents to our source, a friend of his, and that person put it all on social media. Not one single outlet has looked into it until tonight. Yet another case of the mainstream media failing in its job. But you know what? You are the only one that's going to make a difference. I showed you earlier the National Education Association has endorsed this. That's the teachers union. But it has a string of other high-profile endorsements, including the Seattle Education Association, the Chicago Teachers Union, the New York City and Maryland State Education Association. If you live in any of those cities or states, your kids, I can guarantee you, will be seeing this stuff soon, if not right now. And what I'm about to show you is just the beginning, but I found it a little shocking. Black Lives Matter supporters have developed lesson plans that start from preschool all the way up to the 12th grade. I don't know. Did the Tea Party ever do this? Oh, no, we didn't have the money. Do you know the money it would take to tailor things for ages and get it out to the schools and the unions for each age to be able to brainwash the kids on Marxism and how to destroy capitalism by using race, sexual orientation, and gender? To do that, you have to focus on some principles. First one, restorative justice. In essence, tear it all down and let somebody else rise from the ashes. Now, you can't say that to a 5-year-old. Instead, they offer this little poster to be hung up in your preschool's classroom. We know that if someone knocks down someone's block building, you have to help him rebuild it. You can't just say sorry and walk away. In other words, hey kids, here's how we justify riots. It's a Sesame Street guide to mayhem. Might as well just show a big picture of a big, happy, bumbling big bird tearing apart Wall Street like Godzilla for the entire Marxist village. Next is empathy. If you're white, you're a racist. To help students learn all about their racism, these radicals have a lesson plan for that. They recommend listening to a little Tupac while reading a poem from the Black Panther radical Assata Shakur, and then ask the question, why is the black and brown body hated so much? It's hated? Next, loving engagement. They define this as a commitment to practice justice, liberation, and peace. In other words, it's a summer of peace. Get out onto the streets, pick up a sign, and protest. This is a week-long curriculum titled Children and Youth as Change Makers. The goal is to teach kids how to become a social justice advocate and hit the street. This is for third graders. It is a 5-day lesson plan, Monday through Friday. It culminates on the final day with the following. Children engage directly in their cause of choice. Have children create protest signs for issues that they want to stand up for or fight against. Stage hallway protests, gym rally, or go into the neighborhood for a youth march. Our children don't stand a chance. They're not being taught anything except how to be radical activists. What the hell has happened? They are being turned into street soldiers as early as 9 years old, and most of us never even know it's happening. You think a 9-year-old cares about making protest signs and hitting the streets? Well, maybe a protest over the meatloaf, but that's about it. I'm sure you've seen the uptick of kids being used lately as leftist causes. A lot of us thought, why would their parents do that? It's not the parents. It's being taught to them in the schools. This is a group of kids that the writers of this curriculum proudly flaunted, no doubt after attending their little week-long activist course. Another principle in the lesson plan is collective value. Now, if this were college, they'd come out and say what they really mean. Capitalism is evil. Marxism, socialism is awesome. Private property is from the devil, and individualism is like a cancer. But you're talking to 5 to 18-year-olds. Instead, they say this: everybody's important and has a right to be safe and happy. Another way to say that is collective value. No. Does it sound happier that way? Kind of makes me want to read some Karl Marx and Bob Ross, watch him paint at the same time with furry little animals. Last week, we got a glimpse of the part of the Democratic Party's 2020 platform during the DNC. It included a full-on assault to eliminate school vouchers. You want to know why? Because you can't get this into private schools. Not true. You certainly can't get parents to teach this crap. They need every child in America to be instructed with their curriculum, their lesson plans, all of the stuff I'm showing you tonight, all of it. This is what they want taught. And if you attempt to get away from it, they're going to shut you down. Did you happen to see what was going on in the background of Elizabeth Warren's DNC speech? Looked like it was from a kindergarten classroom. There she is. BLM. Oh, that's what's in the end. BLM in blocks. This curriculum has been approved from the very top. If you thought what's being taught to grade schoolers was bad, wait until you see what they're pushing on middle and high schoolers. These kids are getting a crash course on Marxism and communism. It's insane.
Mr. President, you are right, and I hope you will trust your instincts. America is not meant to be shut down, and we have to reopen schools this fall. I've been in touch with almost 1,000 doctors from around the country. I helped Dr. Simone Gold spearhead a letter to you signed by 800 physicians and surgeons who talked about the side effects of the lockdowns. I've done a second letter with over 150 doctors, 240 nurses, 330 educators, 70 national groups, and thousands of parents and concerned Americans who want to see schools reopened. Reopening schools is going to stabilize our society. I think it's the number one most important thing we can do to stabilize our society from top to bottom. Whether it is in a local community, just reestablishing calendars, which churches, nonprofit groups, traffic patterns, people who don't have children care about the calendar for schools. Kindergartners and elementary school students simply cannot learn looking at a Zoom screen. If they could, we wouldn't need schools in the first place. We could just plop them in front of a television. The last place in the world a middle school student needs to be is online, unsupervised by adults. They bully each other when they're in front of teachers. You can't even imagine what's going on with social media right now. Young adults and high school students are losing hope and optimism for the future. And in February, they had so much. And now we turn on the television and we can see the destruction that lack of hope and optimism is causing. Employers have to rebuild their companies. They need employees at 110% to be able to do that. We did everything we could to flatten this curve, and we have to roll up our sleeves now and rebuild our companies. But we can't do that when employees are dividing their time between taking care of their children indefinitely for who knows how long and trying to get their job done. I have one employee who has 5 children. His wife is a dental hygienist. I'm granting him as much grace as I possibly can, which is easy to do. He's a wonderful employee, but I can't even imagine what it would be like to have 5 children and all of a sudden have to homeschool them all. And it's not even homeschooling, it's helping them with digital learning. Homeschool parents have asked that we're careful about not conflating the two. For me, I'm a single mom now, In 2007, 8, and 9, I went through financial crisis. My then husband's business failed. We lost our house, we lost our cars, we lost everything. I cleaned houses to help make ends meet. I've done everything possible to rebuild. I know what those families who are now unemployed are facing, trying to divide their time between taking care of their children, not knowing if their children are going to be educated, and figuring out what they're going to do with their life is the hardest. It's incredibly difficult. And for people who think, oh, we can just work at home, or we're essential, you're an essential employee, it sends the wrong message. Every single person in this country is essential. We are the United States of America. Every one of us is essential. Every one of us is important. And not every single family can afford a computer so that their children can be online at the same time, or Wi-Fi, as Kellyanne was just talking about, to be able to do Zoom all at the same time. So families are suffering, and the education is suffering as well. And as a single mom, this situation is ripping me in two. You cannot be in two places at once, physically or mentally. And I'm doing the very best I can to take care of my children. Their father, when they're living with their father, he does a great job taking care of them. But when they're with me, I'm doing everything I can to take care of them, help them prepare for their senior year of high school, make up prom, dealing with whatever else we have to deal with from the shutdowns, and run a company and work. And it's impossible. It's impossible to do what we need to do. So the schools must be reopened. It will stabilize our country. I cannot thank you enough for doing this today and sending this message. And the doctors who I've been working with, they want to do anything they can to help calm the fear that is permeating our country. They understand we have to have a healthy respect for the virus, and we have to be able to live our lives. And they and I will do anything we can to help you with that. Thank you very much.
Great job. Looks like you're doing a good job. Is your mother doing a good job? She good, right? You said the right thing.